베를린에 숨겨진 패션 도서관 엔디마, 무려 6,000벌의 옷이 보관된 이곳에서는 매일매일 옷을 관리하고 보존하는 강박과 집착에 가까운 작업이 이루어집니다. 과연 이곳에는 어떤 보물이 숨겨져 있고 어떻게 보존되고 있을까요? 또 엔디마의 수장 마이클의 보석함 가장 안쪽에 꽁꽁 숨겨둔 옷들은 무엇일까요? 그 모든 이야기를 만나러 지금 비밀의 문을 열어보겠습니다.
This is part of our restoration process. Before pieces are added to the archive, everything is assessed for damages. So everything is inspected very closely, and we take notes of what needs to happen for each piece. Like every garment has its own challenges. The repairs that we have to do are really different. Sometimes things get like really complicated, like with this one. This, we need to separate the leather from the cotton to make it white again, and then we need to reattach. Ooh. Or sometimes it's like repairing holes, repairing like little damages. There's always something for us to do here. They look very nice, very flat, even though this is like, now this is 45 years old. It looks quite decent. We try to achieve the same result for every piece in the archive to make them look almost like they're new. Once they have been restored, we will take them here where we have like our little studio where we photograph the garments. We have this very nice way of photographing things that's very detailed. Then once the pieces have been photographed, one of these rooms, this is our first room. This is all Helmut Lang. This room is like countless hours of work, to clean everything, restore it, photograph it, never ending, Pieces here are arranged by a certain typology. So first we have really sort of lightweight and weirds, things like that. Once you go further back, you have things that are more like heavy. Like at the end, you have something like this that's a more like traditional coat. So it's like from light to heavy somehow. Throughout the mid-90s, he did a lot of pieces that are made from like interesting synthetic fabrics. Has a nice detail here. That is nice to like check it out, like the sleeves that has like this cut. He's making a lot of interesting shapes like that look like already familiar things like t-shirts, things that are not really like fundamentally different, but they feel special because little weird things he does, like a different kind of fabric. The print is a bit like irregular, the colors, like everything feels a bit different. He also does a lot of things using like fabrics that are not normally used for clothing, fabrics that would be used for decorating like interior design or furniture, just generally stuff that is not, like it feels really weird to see these fabrics on clothing. And this was a fantastic idea because he was also a very poor independent designer, and he had to find ways to make his work feel special and interesting without spending too much money that they couldn't afford. Yeah, sure. This is like a foil print on a synthetic organza. It's actually a lace-inspired decoration. So this is winter. The previous summer, they did real lace. That's like this kind of lace. So the other one is like a scan of this, more or less. And then they also like this, that is like printed lace. So this is a print. And on the back of this, it has like a little bit of real lace like this. All this stuff is pretty cute. You see, it's a lot of things like that have like finishing like normal tank tops, like sportswear kind of finishing. Nothing that's like really wild, but he is really good at making them feel quite fresh and interesting. Another thing Helmut Lang likes to do is transparencies. So having like a transparent fabric on top of another one, and it creates this play between textures and colors. You see, he either does very subtle colors or no color, or he does something like really vibrant, really fluorescent. Very nice, very cute, with lots of nice details to emphasize. The menswear is also very popular. This is the jacket that I bought for like $100, and then I sold it for more, and it was like the first. These are from winter '99, so you can take the neck and do like a thing like this. So it like sits like that. And it has like all these intense details, and in this leather, it's super nice. I've had this jacket a few times since then, but we had to keep one at the end. These garments that are like very simple on the outside, like it's like a kind of everyday coat, something that you can just wear again and again. But then once you take a closer look, they have a lot of interesting details. Like you have this whole like harness construction on the interior taken from different military garments. You can use these straps, you attach it like this, and it functions like a backpack. You can secure it to your body. You can tie the legs your legs onto the coat. What's quite interesting about the way they're done by Helmut Lang is that you have very simple garments on the outside. And then on the interior, you have like this whole story that only the wearer really knows that it's there. So there's something for me quite interesting about having a garment that's only like for you to know. I'm really interested in the way he does color, or he does like different textures together. So he's a designer whose work is usually quite simple, but then when it becomes complicated, it happens in a very unpredictable and somehow spontaneous way, which I think is really nice. Like this, I show everyone, is one of my favorites. So just something very simple that feels really special. I think he was quite good at this. But also at the same time, we also have very complicated. These things are from 99, a season where they had a lot of utilitarian kind of details. Like this trouser is quite cool. This has metal in it. And it's it's a little scratchy. Can you feel it's a little scratchy? It's because it has been through a lot. I like this orange actually together with this. This season they did kind of like pieces you don't really see very often, like in blue. Usually they do like more neutral colors and then they do blue and it's like boom. Our hanger is slipping, I see. Doesn't work with this leather. A lot of time we spent here in the archive is now devoted to storage solutions. So there's a lot of work that we do to make things look nice on a hanger and not break over time. So this is one of our typical problems. We're thinking a lot about how we can store things in a nice way so you can really understand what they look like on a body. We create different types of constructions so that things can like fall correctly and they also are not damaged. This very weird piece that we had to think a lot about how to show this, you know, like
This is arms, right?
this is under the arm and then this is one arm. This is that goes here. All of this requires thought and also time to get it right. Here, let's go to another room. So here we have our second room of Helmut Lang. In this room, we have accessories, bags, belts, sunglasses, leather goods, also catalogs and other things that they did. So there's like a lot of different stuff to look into. These are cool, these catalogs. That's like a paper bag made out of silk. Like this thing just sits like that. Things that are taking details from military garments and like different types of construction. Like you see, like all of these bags, they have details taken from like some kind of parachute thing. And it goes on like this forever, basically. We should also look like at some denim jackets because they're interesting. These are the first jackets Helmut Lang did for Helmut Lang jeans. First, like attempt at doing more mass-produced denim line. This is like an important moment for the brand. And they do all these jackets that I think are really cool. Not only very well made, but also they have like really interesting details, like this element on the shoulder, I think is super cool. This one that has like this print on the back. Like they feel quite classic, but they're very different at the same time. Like they have a good balance, I think, between something that's almost like a Levi's, but then it's like obviously quite different. This one is very expensive because there's like this photo of Raf Simons wearing it. It's like this funny photo that like he's in the air. He's like in the air and he's wearing this jacket. So generally speaking, Helmut Lang, usually his denim jackets are more on the classic side. He does something that feels like a little bit somehow different. Like he will do like a really intense color, something that feels like a bit unusual, like a print. This brand is all about, I think, classic clothes that are a bit weird, a bit mismatched, a bit like old workwear, but then also synthetic fabrics, historical shapes, but also like military things that look a bit avant-garde. Like he's having all these contradictions that make the brand very interesting. In this room, we have work from other designers. Here, it's like a more mixed bag of things that I like. So we'll just pull out a few examples for you. This is Jürgen Persoons, who makes things like by hand, simple things, but like done in a very ridiculous way.
It's all made by hand, right?
Not entirely, actually. There's some parts. I think the main joints are done by machine, like the straight lines. It's part hand, part machine. It's more like for the look. But he still went bankrupt because this stuff was too expensive to make. I like this one because this is quite random. This is handmade. Someone made this at home.
Oh,
It has a lot of mistakes. Like it has like a lot of like irregularities in the stitching, and like this stuff is like stuff you buy at like a hardware store. Then on the back you have like this,
wow.
which is like a rabbit. It's like an entire rabbit. kind of like flat, which I think is like a bit funny. I don't know. Usually we have designer stuff in here, but I also, when I see something that looks a bit different, I like to take it. Besides Helmut Lang, we have a lot of other different designers. Like this is Burberry. This is when Burberry started to do a runway line for the first time. It's from 2000. This is Sabotage. This is a German brand that was experimenting a lot with ideas of like tech wear, clothes that were combining rave-inspired street style with new fabrics, military sort of technology and this type of thing. This is from 1994 or 95. It's really quite old, but it looks like something very contemporary, you know? Emporio Armani is one of the first collections where they did like this eagle. Compare this, the stuff Armani did later, where, you know, they had a lot of money and they were making like couture. So this is all handmade. Even on the inside, you see it's all like hand. This stuff is like very expensive. So I like to have these next to each other. In this room, we have things by color. So this is actually very close color, but it's obviously very like different feeling. Armani is an important designer because he did a lot of business stuff for the first time. He did like the idea of a diffusion line, the idea of having different lines for different audiences, having something for older people, having something for younger people, creating even the idea of luxury streetwear. These are all Armani ideas. So it's nice to see his work in its different expressions, especially when he was still an independent designer who was kind of trying to make it. Here's a jacket. It's like cool stuff that people want to wear today. At the end of the day, like also what we're interested in doing here is having things that relate to people today. So, you know, there's many brands that do things like this right now, and I like to think of this as like an original expression of the same idea. It's so fucking heavy. Sure. It must be like 3.5 kilos.
It's like a dumbbell.
Oh, really? It must be like 3.5 kilos, no? Maybe more. This is Raf Simons, his very first runway collection, Winter 97. So what he did was he took like this kind of English biker jacket, and turned it into a coat. And if you see the shape, it's really narrow. Like the shoulder feels like almost like a t-shirt somehow. So this is what Raf Simons does when he starts. He does a very slim fit for men, which is kind of a new shape. It's like a new way of thinking about something like a big coat, but with such a small shoulder. It was like something that really became a trend a few years later in the 2000s. So these pieces are really cool. Like it has like lots of interesting details. And for me, I really love this little pocket. I think it's really fun.
Maybe for air.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have them yet, so he was really thinking ahead of the curve. This is also something unbranded that I think is cute.
Looks really nice.
This is a French fireman jacket. So these are used for protection against fire. So you see they have some differences. They don't have seams here. It's fire related. But then this was painted by someone afterwards. So it has like this artwork, which I think is really, really well done. Like it's like, you know, it's pretty fucking cool, honestly.
Is it leather?
Yeah, this is leather.
So like clothes for firefighters used to be leather.
Some of them, yes. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I think this is not the clothes that is like for people to really go into the fire. This is like for the people who are like have the hose. So they will be in contact with heat, but it's not like the extreme high heat protection. Don't quote me on any of this shit. I really like Burberry, not just for like trench coats. When Christopher Bailey was designing Burberry, they did some really interesting outerwear, really beautifully done. They have this super exaggerated shape, kind of like anime type character, like super intense shoulder, like really skinny long arms, and like always the shape is really three-dimensional with like all these historical elements. So everything looks a little bit like costume, but like in a really cool way. Sorry. Sometimes you find something in the wrong place and you have to put it back. Swedish Army. So this is not meant to be like a fashion jacket. This is more military jacket, but it looks a bit quite fashiony, you know. So these zippers, these on other types of jackets like biker jackets or like ski jackets. This is actually the first jacket that looks like this. It was designed in the late 60s to create a jacket that is to be used by tank operators. You have zippers, which zippers are still a bit uncommon at this time. It's more common that they have buttons. And this is actually a plastic zipper, which was very new at the time, plastic zippers. And then on the inside, you have again, like this crazy harness thing. This entire thing that's like a proper harness. This is now, it's not a fashion harness like Helmut Lang's. This is like something that is designed to carry your entire weight. So it even goes around the arms here. This part goes on the front. So you can create like a proper like cod piece or whatever it's called. So, and then if you don't need it, you can store it like here, which is funny. So what you are supposed to do with this, right? You wear it, and then if there's an accident, you can, and you faint. You know, if you're like inside a tank, tanks can like, you know, explode like in seconds. So it's really important to save on time. So if you are fainted, they figured out the best way to move you is to just, you open this, and then you literally, where is it? They pull this out.
Really interesting because we both went to military.
Right.
So it's like we're comparing.
Yeah.
I think this one is better.
Yeah. I mean, I've also done military service in Greece, and definitely not. I didn't have anything as cool as. You know, also with military stuff, of course, like the best stuff, like the most advanced gear, is used by like elite forces, not like the conscripts, like people like us who are doing just their service. You know, they're not gonna. There's no need to like, because this is also expensive equipment, right? So they're not gonna give it to like noobs. I think it's really cute. You know. This is a Discord jacket for women. It's designed to look like it's inside out. It's like a designer interpretation of construction. It's not really how things look on the inside. But I love this like a little bit of blue thread here, like or like on the back here. These are our shoes. We have it from the blank. There was other designer. I like this one a lot. A bit of fish, a bit of like rubber, then like a bit of like shiny leather that is like a fake snake stamp. So like creates like this interesting balance between materials. I like Dirk Bickenberg's a lot. This is like a very famous Dirk Bickenberg's design. It's quite popular now. I feel like a lot of people have seen it. You don't see as often, that I think look amazing. So you see it's like a kind of traditional shoe. Like look, branding opportunity here. It's a traditional shoe that is constructed in a very different way to look really cool. Like this shape here, like all these metal parts. This is also something like a bit like, I would say, common for today, like, you know, a shoe that's a bit like traditional, but then you have like the sporty elements. And this is like made from wood. This is like old school shit, you know. It's like from a different time. Kostas is a good friend of mine, and he's also a very interesting designer who has done a lot of very unusual things throughout his career. Like he's experimented a lot with materials in very unique ways. He shares many sensibilities with Helmut Lang, while at the same time creating like his own space within 90s fashion. Kostas has loaned his personal archive from the 90s to us. So we get to see some things like that were only in the shows. They did all these like tops that are an old scarf that they found, and then they fitted it with these like elastics to create like a little top. So this is something he did in the mid-90s. This glows in the dark. When you turn off the lights, it like glows. This is like a little top that you tie, and it's like a tiny little thing. This is like an imprint, like you have a female body. Yves Klein has done like an artwork that's like this, that's like a body like that was covered in paint, and then they went against the wall like that. And Kostas did this, and this became a very famous design by Phoebe Philo for Celine later. But probably she saw it here. A coat made out of glass, like fiberglass, a very unusual fabrication. It's probably dangerous to wear. I love this little pocket he does here. This was used on the show, and also on the show it doesn't have buttons. They never found the buttons for it, basically, so it's without buttons now. Everything has like some interesting aspect, like even like a simple coat like this, you open it and you see it has like this as like a removable lining, like this little strap top. So there's a lot of things like this to consider in the work, like elements that are not necessarily immediately noticeable. We have these incredible pieces that are made from transparent leather and fur. So this is like something that probably cost them like a lot of money to make also. Like here it has this like a Chinese like kind of very expensive silk on the inside. And this is like fur that you see through the transparent leather. So the transparent aspect, you can see it in full like here. So this is stuff you really don't see every day, to be honest. Like, you know, then he does like a military thing like this, and it's like really intense, you know? Because this is a designer who is really interested in quality and craftsmanship. So even though his creative ideas can be a little bit cuckoo, but he also always executes them in really high quality materials. Even like simple designs like this. Like this is a jacket that was in a box for the last 30 years. It was in a box. Look, this leather is really expensive. It's really nice leather. Like he's generally doing things with a very conservative craftsmanship perspective that I think is also very interesting. Like he doesn't compromise, neither creatively or I think from a quality point of view. And I think that makes him also very unique. So yeah, that's what's up with the archives.